First up at 11 o'clock, part 2 of a Target 8 investigation. We have already exposed potentially toxic tap water at illegal Wolverine Worldwide dump sites near Rockford. And new tonight, we're taking that story even further. For the first time, homeowners are opening up about potential health problems.
And we're also asking, why did government officials allow homes to be built and wells to be drilled on that spoiled soil, even after they suspected it was contaminated? Target 8's Ken Coker broke this story open last night, and he's here with more answers. Ken?
Yeah, Marlene, Brian, some neighbors say more should have been done to catch this years ago. Instead, they worry they've been drinking toxic water for decades. And they wonder now about medical conditions they've already had and health problems they may still suffer. Rob Versluis was 19 when he bought his home on House Street in Belmont in 2005 with well water. He says he knew nothing of the Wolverine Worldwide dump a few doors down. He also didn't know until we told him today that in 2004, the year before his home was built, Plainfield Township wrote a report identifying Wolverine's dump as a quote-unquote environmental issue. Wolverine had closed the dump in about 1970. Wolverine Boot Company once maintained a dump for their tannery operations. Tanning processes result in a number of harmful byproducts, some of which may have been dumped here. Once again, although the extent of the contamination is not known, the impact does not appear significant. That was 13 years ago. Since that report, records show the township has allowed 7 homes, including Versluis's, to be built near the dump, along with the Belmont Armory, all with wells. Several now with water contaminated by PFAS, a likely carcinogen.
Why would they ever allow any homes to be built or any wells to be drilled until further testing would have been done?
Now he worries about his family's health. Health officials told him the chemical known as PFAS in Scotchgard that Wolverine used for decades on its shoes can cause brittle bones and lead to complications with pregnancies. This summer, his 3-year-old son broke his femur while riding his scooter.
So that really, makes me think.
His wife has had 3 miscarriages. And does that make you wonder?
Oh, absolutely.
Are you wondering who dropped the ball?
Yeah, it seems like they would have been able to connect the dots on, the PFAS that could potentially be in the groundwater.
Plainfield Township superintendent, who has had the job 4 years, defended the township.
I feel pretty secure that no one at the time had any indication of what may be in the groundwater.
But should they have known? I mean, is it something like if you suspect there might be a problem there, you don't know what the extent of it is, should somebody have been testing earlier?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, and that's why we want to investigate this and learn what we can as well.
The Kent County Health Department said it has issued well permits for the homes, but only after more stringent water testing. However, they said they didn't know to test for PFAS. Neighbors say there's plenty of blame to go around.
I think Wolverine plays a part. I think DEQ plays a part, or EPA, or whoever is in charge of managing our environment and making sure that this doesn't happen. I think Plainfield Township plays a part.
Some say the DEQ took too long to respond after learning about the possibility of PFAS at Wolverine's dump site in January. At the request of DEQ, Wolverine started testing well water at homes next to the House Street dump 6 months later. Should they have been out here right away?
Should the DEQ?
Yeah.
One would have thought after Flint they'd have beat feet out here. I mean, how many times do they need to poison the citizens of Michigan before somebody starts saying, why do we have a DEQ? Truly, that's what I'm wondering.
The water at Sandy Winstelt's home across the street from the dump tested 542 times the EPA limit for PFAS, one of 14 with tainted water. It was Grand Valley State University research scientist Rick Radeski who alerted the DEQ about the PFAS threat. I mean, if you lived on House Street with a well, would that have concerned you that it took that long?
Absolutely.
A local DEQ supervisor says his agency has moved quickly.
In the time scale of remedial actions that I've been a part of, this is moving really quickly.
Wolverine started using Scotchgard on its shoes and boots in the late 1950s. For years, it dumped waste, including sludge from its Rockford factory at the House Street landfill, until about 1970. EPA records show that 3M, the maker of Scotchgard, phased out PFAS by 2002, citing environmental worries. By 2005, the EPA said evidence suggested that PFAS caused cancer in humans.
Most people realize, since the early 2000s that Scotchgard was a hazardous chemical, so people should have associated the tannery because they produced hush puppy shoes with that particular chemical.
But in a statement to Target 8, Wolverine said it did not know PFAS was in the Scotchgard until this year, after a Rockford citizens group working with that Grand Valley professor raised the question.
But I can't go back and second guess what people should have known when being able to make the connection between 3M discontinuing a product and a product that was disposed of 40 and 50 years ago is incredibly difficult.
It all leaves Rob Versluis worried about his kids' future.
Yep, when it's your children, they might, be fine today, but who knows what's 10 years, 10 years from the road.
Now we need to say that original dump site north of House Street was perfectly legal and was operated until 1970. In a statement, Wolverine says it is working closely with the DEQ and has expanded testing at its own cost to 300 homes in the area. The DEQ says it could take up to 2 years to determine how far this contamination has spread. Now the township is working on a plan to extend city water to the area. In the meantime, residents are using bottled water.
But the township was aware of at least some concerns in 2004.
Correct.
That this was an environmental issue.
Correct.
What was done after that?
It appears not much until this Rockford citizen group got involved and started this testing. It started the ball rolling on this this year.
Certainly so much more to uncover as we go through all of this.
Yes.
Certainly.
Thank you, Ken.